Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we are diving into one of the most incredible travel stories you'll ever hear. Alexandra David-Neel's With Mystics and Magicians in Tibet. We are about to explore a world where the mind, well, the mind itself, has the power to shape reality. A place that seriously challenges everything we think we know. So, let's get into it. Right from the start, this quote just perfectly sets the stage. It captures the massive hurdle David-Neel was up against. You see, she wasn't just some tourist. She was a serious explorer heading into a world where the kinds of stories we just laugh off as fairy tales, well, they were considered facts of life. So what exactly was this land she was stepping into? Well, as she quickly found out, it wasn't just a country of stunning mountains and ancient monasteries. It was a place, a landscape really, where the mind played by a completely different set of rules. I want you to just try and imagine that for a second. A place where every single valley, every river, every forest is buzzing with unseen forces. David-Neel describes this world where the supernatural isn't, something other. No, sorcery, gods, demons. They're as real and as present as the wind and the rain. And this is where it gets really interesting, this fundamental clash of realities. The Dalai Lama himself, after meeting the British, basically said, okay, you Westerners, you're masters of the physical world, for sure. But mentally, you're kind of inferior. He genuinely believed they couldn't grasp reality because they were so obsessed with hard, empirical proof that they completely missed the incredible power that comes from belief itself. And this massive difference in how they see the world is never ever clearer than when we look at how they approach life's biggest mystery, death. For Tibetans, death isn't something that just happens to you. It's a technical procedure. It's a skill. David-Neel saw monks practicing these powerful sounds, the hic and the put, with such insane force that one actually spat up blood. The goal is to perfectly intone these syllables to literally pop the consciousness right out of the body. And they know they've mastered it when a tiny crack appears on their own skull, just big enough for a single straw to stand up in it. Wild, right? Okay, so once the spirit is free, it enters this place, or state, called the bardo. Now, this isn't heaven or hell. Think of it more like a cosmic, dreamlike layover. In the bardo, the spirit faces all these visions and hallucinations that are basically a direct reflection of its past life. And how it deals with that journey determines what kind of life it gets next. So the whole goal is to help the spirit move on, to not get stuck. And get this, during the funeral rites, a lama might tell the deceased what they call pious lies. They'll say things like this, telling the spirit that everything it ever loved is gone. It sounds harsh, but the goal is to sever that spirit's attachment to the physical world so it doesn't linger and can move on to a better rebirth. Which, of course, raises a huge question. How on earth does a person develop the kind of mental power to do all this? Well, the answer is a long, difficult path of intense mental and spiritual training. It's not some quick shortcut. It's a very systematic, three-stage process. First, tawa. You look, you observe, you analyze the world intellectually. Then, gampa. You think about it, you meditate on it deeply. And finally, chodpa. You practice, you live it, you embody it until it's a part of you. That's how you realize it, and that's the path to real power. And that practice, it can be absolutely terrifying. David-Neel talks about students being sent to places that are supposedly haunted. In one test, a young man was literally tied to a tree and forced to spend the whole night screaming at imaginary demons, conquering his deepest fears with nothing but his own willpower. And believe it or not, the training gets even more extreme. There's a ritual called chode. It involves going to a scary place, like a graveyard, and then visualizing your own body being chopped up and served as a feast for demons. It's this horrifying mental act of self-destruction, but the purpose, paradoxically, is to create limitless compassion and to just completely obliterate the ego's fear of death. It's this level of almost unbelievable mental discipline that leads us to what is maybe the most mind-bending concept in the entire book: the ability to create phantom beings, actual apparitions from nothing but pure thought. I mean, just stop and really think about that for a second. Can you concentrate so intensely that you project an image from your mind out into the physical world? An image that other people can actually see? Well, for the mystics David-Neel met, the answer was a definite, absolute yes. And they have a name for these creations, tulpas. They're described as these magical formations, these phantoms that are willed into a kind of temporary existence, using nothing more than incredibly powerful, sustained focus. Now, here's the absolute kicker. David-Neel, our skeptical, rational Westerner, she saw one herself. She was visiting this artist who was deep in meditation, and she saw this hazy shape of the deity he was focusing on appear right behind him. When the artist moved, the phantom didn't. So she worked up her courage, reached out her hand, and she felt it. She described touching a soft object that just kind of gave way under her fingers before the whole thing vanished. So what's the engine driving all of this? I mean, how is any of this even possible? It all comes down to one single, incredibly powerful idea. This Tibetan saying is the key. It basically means that faith, or real, powerful veneration, it isn't just a feeling. It's a creative force. It has the power to pour energy into an object or an idea and make it manifest things it could never do on its own. And there's this perfect little story that illustrates it. A son forgets to bring his mother a holy relic from India, so on the way home, he just grabs an old dog's tooth off the road and gives her that. But his mother's faith is so pure, her belief so absolute, that she worships this tooth until it actually starts to glow with a holy light. The power, you see, was never in the tooth. It was in her mind. And that leaves us with one last, pretty profound question. If the human mind, just through focused belief, can create phantoms, can help souls travel to the next life, and can make an ordinary dog's tooth shine with light, then how much of what we call reality is just a story? A powerful illusion that we've all agreed to live by, every single day.